Let's go.
Yo, biggest nerd in the world here. I'm here to talk a bit about the game. One cool thing you may notice instantly about this preview is that all the music is custom composed, and the guy that composed it, Badoop, he composed it directly in the Mario 64 sound font, so it sounds like it was made for the game, and I absolutely love it. As always, this is all N64 tested. Right here, this is a real N64 footage. You can see the debug counter right there with the FPS and everything. Of course, it's not always 30 FPS. Instead, we have higher quality graphics. And the gameplay is still at normal speed, but honestly, most of it is still very watchable. If you compare it to Ocarina of Time, which on the N64 it runs at like 18 frames per second, we're still doing pretty well. As always, let's talk about some technical details. I love doing that. So one cool thing you notice, the floor here, it looks super detailed. Why? We use a multi-texture. A multi-texture is when you use two textures and you multiply them with each other. That way we can have two textures at different scales, giving this a very, very detailed look. This is two 64 by 64 textures overlaid over each other, but really it just looks so much higher resolution than 64 by 64. Another cool technical detail you might notice is how Mario's color changes when you get closer to a light, like this. See how his face is green? And now it just kind of goes to skin color. And if I go towards the pink crystal, he's getting a pink face. I do this by multiplying the lights with Mario's colors. A cool new power-up in this is the Cloud Flower, which of course I've improved again over the old version. So it's smoother to use and I think it's much more fun. Well, you guys will have to test it for yourself, but I think this works way better than the old one I made. So there's a second mirror in this. It looks like this, and this is a vertical mirror, which I think is really cool that I made two mirrors. It also mirrors the way the coin rotates, which that's something completely different because it's a billboard. It's not very complicated to make that work, but it did require a workaround. So this level has a little story going on with the shack here and the mice that keep disappearing and the nippers, which I won't spoil you the story, but I think it's a pretty good story. And it culminates in what I think is the coolest thing I've ever done in Mario 64. And you've seen the minecart section, I think it's even cooler than that. This level here has 8 different areas, which is the most that any level I've made ever had. So it's a pretty detailed level. And each star you get has a whole working mission of it. There's also a whole new camera system in this, which allows us to do camera perspectives like this in certain locations. And you may have noticed that the camera is really smooth in the way it rotates. It always smartly tries to adjust itself so that it's easy to use. I put a lot of work into optimizing the camera. The one thing I look at the most in this game is to all make it look very stylish and cool and cute. So you get cute animations like this everywhere. Watch. I love that. When you talk to him, he's just annoyed you woke him up. So how come this level runs so well, even though there are so many polygons in here compared to the original Mario 64? Well, the secret is 3 different types of culling. The first type of culling uses the level of detail function. For this, the normal geometry is the highly detailed geometry, while absolutely nothing is the low detail geometry. This way, anything that is far away, or is at least likely to only be seen if Mario is very close, can just be called away like that. The second type of culling is culling by coordinates. This way, if the camera is not showing the object directly, we can just not render the object. This is very helpful for detailed, small geometry pieces. And the third type of culling is something I manually had to code. I simply hide all the detail that is only visible while you're in this general area here, all of this, as soon as Mario goes beyond this wall. That way, you will never see anything missing while the game saves on rendering all this geometry here. These techniques were not used in the original game. The original game simply had rooms. If you look at Hazy Maze Cave, you can see the room system in action. Each one of these individual rooms is closed off by doors, and going through a door is going to trigger a different room. Having everything in separate rooms kind of limits you because you have to use these doors, and I feel like they wouldn't fit the level I made, so I had to invent a new system to do all of this. I'm going to release a demo of this very soon. It should have a bit more than 20 stars, and then you guys can all convince yourself of how great this game is going to be and give me some feedback. I'd love to see your reactions, and I'd love to see videos of you guys playing this. The demo is only going to have the first half of the first overworld, and in total the game is intended to have 165 stars when it's all finished, although 45 of those are going to be green stars. So technically just 120 stars plus a bonus. And I think the video hit the 10-minute mark now. Bye.